Welcome back to Paul's Old Crap, and I've got my IBM ThinkPad 600X gaming laptop up here, and today we're going to just play a little bit of Diablo 2, but I'm also going to talk about my history with the game, which is, in my opinion, a fairly interesting story. Fortunately, one that's going to make me sound like the asshole, but we'll get into that. So, my history with the game basically starts off in, I think it was the year 2000, maybe 2001, when I was in high school. I had built a gaming PC specifically to play Diablo 2. It was a AMD K62. I had the NVIDIA TNT2 M64 video card. Not a particularly great card, but it was cheap and it ran the game. So I think the game typically runs in like a software rendering mode, although I'm fairly certain it did include the glide support if you had a 3DFX Voodoo video card. At the time, I did not. So, and when we demonstrate the game today, it'll be the same thing. I obviously don't have a Voodoo card in this laptop, so but yeah, I originally started off with just Diablo 2, and then eventually I did also buy the Lord of Destruction add-on pack whenever that came out. I honestly can't remember because that was so long ago, but yeah, so I think what we're doing today is just basically getting started. Gonna make a character, play a little bit, while I ramble on about how this game had an interesting effect on my life. But yeah, this game is from Blizzard Entertainment. And then I think, yeah, Blizzard North is the actual studio that made it. I don't know the exact history of all of that, but so yeah, this is the Lord of Destruction, and I am running version 1.13. I don't know. I had the patch available when I did the install of this. I have no intention of obviously trying to play on Battle.net because Battle.net doesn't exist for this game anymore. Although, while I was trying to find some patches to update this old version of the game, apparently under EA, they've kind of like re-released Diablo 2 or something strange like that. So supposedly you can actually go and buy this game. Not this exact game, but like some sort of renewed version of it, and play online or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, for the demonstration here, obviously we're only going to be doing single player. But when I was playing this game back in high school, I was obviously playing it multiplayer on Battle.net because that's obviously where you have the most fun. But yeah, anyway, we'll just go into single player. This is my character, Mrs. Crap, that I was playing for a while. Pretty much the reason I bought this laptop was to play Diablo 2 on it, but we're going to create a new character. And okay, so we have Amazon. I think that's for like hunter, kind of skilled with the spear and the bow. Okay, yeah. Assassin. I don't think I've ever played this character class. Necromancer. So this class, yeah, you can like summon the undead to kind of like fight for you. Barbarian. I think I've had most experience with the Barbarian. And I also did play as Sorceress a little while back in high school. Paladin. I don't think I ever really played the Paladin at all. Yeah. But yeah, Sorceress. I don't know. The Sorceress and the Amazon, I think, were two classes that I liked because, you know, you fight kind of from a distance. And Druid. I don't think I've ever played the Druid in my entire life. So. But we're going to play Barbarian. And character name. Use my name. And you can also mark it as an expansion character. I'm assuming if you don't have this enabled, then it only gives you the original. I think there's 4 like main acts in the game. So Act 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the expansion adds Act 5. I think. In a long time, I don't remember. Hardcore. This is when your character dies, you're gone forever. I'm not really a fan of hardcore mode. Like, it seems a silly thing to do if you put in hours and hours and hours of effort and then you just mess up and your character dies and then you have to start from scratch again. That sounds like it's too annoying. So, yeah. So immediately it drops us off into. Oops. I don't even know what this area is called. It's been so long. You know, I probably should have relearned how to play this game before trying to do this. There we go. Tab brings up the map of where we are. There's a way to set run mode. I don't think I'm ever going to figure it out. Okay, I think I did it. R. Yeah, hitting R on the keyboard makes run mode. So, I mean, the basics here. We look at our character. We're a level 1. We have no experience. The experience is this bar down here, which goes up as you kill stuff or complete quests and stuff like that. And then as this goes up, top, or hits the end there, you get to the next level, and it just continues on and on and on. If I'm not mistaken, Diablo 2 allows you to get to level 99, and that's it, I think. Yeah. Anyway, and then all these stats, I believe you can increase as you play the game and as you level up. But this guy really wants us to talk to him. We'll do that in a minute. I'm just going to go over some of the other basics here. Our inventory. Oh, we start off with literally nothing. I thought we maybe would have started off with like a very basic axe or something, but okay, no. Start off with like quite literally nothing. Interesting. Over here, our private stash. This is where you can store things that you don't want to carry around with you, so yep. And life over here, mana over here. Pretty basic stuff, but why don't we just get to it? What does this guy want?
Greetings, stranger. I'm not surprised to see your kind here. Many adventurers have traveled this way since the recent troubles began. No doubt you've heard about the tragedy that befell the town of Tristram. Or some say that Diablo, the Lord of Terror.
Blah, blah, blah.
Where can I take you?
Oh. Not gonna give us a quest? Where are we gonna go? Someone has to give us a quest. You want?
I am Akara. There is a place of great evil in the wilderness. Kasha's rogue scouts inform me that...
Okay, so she gave us a quest. Look for the den in the wilderness. Okay, so this is just like fight some stuff. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about my story with the game. So after I started playing Diablo 2 on Battle.net, yeah, I basically got like completely addicted to the game. I spent all of my time playing it, and this was in high school. So instead of actually doing my homework and stuff like that, I just basically played the game. And I ended up not doing a bunch of my homework. Ooh, a sword. Oh, look, there we go. My guy has a sword now. Cool. So yeah, something interesting that happened was I got... Ooh, a potion. I got real behind in my English class. I had several essays that were due for class, and instead of actually writing them, I decided I was just going to keep playing Diablo 2 with all my time. So, one thing I did, because I'm an idiot, is I went on the internet and I downloaded some essays because I figured that would save me the time of having to write them myself. And, you know, this was back in like 2000, so I mean, I figured, what are the chances that they would actually be able to, you know, figure out that I did that? But apparently, the school had invested in a system where they scan in your essay, and it searches the internet for it. Well, guess what they found? The essays that I downloaded. So, I failed that English class, and I was forced to basically take it again. But this time what they made me do was sit alone in like an empty office as my English redo class. And I was not allowed to do any work at home. I was not allowed to use any technology. The teacher gave me the assignments to do, and I had to do them while sitting alone in this office. So, yeah, that was not really a pleasant time. Here, okay. Ooh, experience shrine. When we have this, and we kill things, we get more experience than normal. So whenever you have these little shrines around, you can go and get them. And now I'm dual wielding right now. Oh, it's locked. Okay. So this one is stamina shrine, which basically just makes me able to run longer. One thing I forgot to mention is as I'm running here, this little stamina bar down here goes down, so you can only run for so long. Oh, the Den of Evil. This is actually where we needed to go on our quest. So before I actually head down there, though, I'll try to remember where I was in my story. So yeah, I had to redo my English class by using one of my spare class, like my spare block for whatever day of the week it was. So that was kind of annoying. But that was probably the least of my problem, because yeah, I just kind of got more and more hooked on Diablo 2, and I ended up doing some kind of shady stuff. And this is kind of like where me being an asshole starts coming into play. Ooh, I just leveled up. We look at our character. I'm level 2 now, and we have points remaining allocate. Now, when you're a barbarian, I think typically you want to do most of it in strength, because this makes your like hits have more damage. And then skill. That skills. I can do a bash skill. Okay. I could become better at swords. War cries. I don't think I ever really care about the war cries. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start giving ourselves sword mastery. Because, well, for one, I'm holding swords right now, but if I was to continue playing this character, I'd probably just keep on using swords. Ooh. That was a key. Go back to, there was a locked, whatever, a locked chest somewhere over here. Was cap. Let's see, am I wearing a cap now? Inventory? Yes, I'm now wearing my cap. Okay, so yeah, I got really hooked into Diablo 2, and there was a lot of things that were happening in BattleNet at the time. One of those things was on the US West realm. There was a lot of Korean players that were joining the US servers for some reason. I think maybe the ones that were closer to them were all full. So they started coming to the US servers, and they didn't like chat in English. So they would just like spamming a bunch of like strange characters or whatever, or that like the translator would just make a bunch of weird words. But then it also, in my experience, they would also kind of like try to PvP you. So they would like go hostile against you and then wait for you to leave the town so they could attack you. I'm just making a generalization here, but I mean that's what seemed to happen pretty often. So somehow someone had discovered that if you enter, because like all these different players, you could actually kind of like chat with kind of like with everyone in the area when you were on like a BattleNet. I don't know if it's like a room, but on BattleNet you'd have these different like games where you'd have maybe like 10 players or something like that, 10 to 20 players. I can't remember the number exactly. And you'd basically play in there. And I think you were able to chat with everyone else in that kind of like little room there, I think. Or maybe you had to just be physically close by. I think that might be it. You had to actually be kind of like in the same area of the map. But somewhere, someone discovered that if you enter a complete line of periods, it would crash the language translator for the Korean players. So, me, being the little asshole that I am, what I would do is I would go, into the town, because I think if you go hostile against another player to PvP them, I think what you have to do is you actually have to be in the town to do it, because the town is the safe zone, so you can't attack anyone in the town. So you'd have to go back to the town, go hostile, and then come outside of the town to fight them. So what I would do is I would probably start talking some shit to a Korean player. I'd go in the town and I'd go hostile, and then they'd want to fight me, right? So then I would wait for them to leave the safety of the town, so they'd come outside and they would wait for me. So I would come close enough that my chat would, their player would be listening to my chat, my text chat, and then I'd hit the line of periods, which would crash their translator, and it would crash their game, the whole game as a result. But it takes a little while for the character to actually lag out and disappear from the game, even though their game had crashed by that point. So what I would do is I would enter the line of periods, which would immediately crash their translator, and then I would run out and fight them and kill them. And then I would take the amount of gold that they dropped, and then I'd put it in my inventory and then continue on with whatever I was doing. Oh my god, this sounds so terrible, doesn't it? The sad part is we're not even at the bad stuff yet. So anyway, this apparently was causing such an uproar that Blizzard they kind of issued a patch that would not allow you to type a single line full of periods, right? Now, little asshole gamers are very smart. They discovered that if you put little breaks in the line of periods, so if you did like 10 periods and then a space, and then 10 more periods and a space, and then 10 more periods, the same thing would happen, but the patch hadn't banned that from happening. So you could still crash the Korean players that way. So that was still live and happening. And then I think eventually they released a patch that actually stopped you from doing that entirely. So I can't remember. Maybe they actually fixed the translator or something. I can't remember. Anyway, we entered the Den of Evil, and now our quest log comes up and tells us we have to kill all the monsters in the den. Yeah. I don't know if I'm actually going to do the whole thing because it's going to take a while. And I can't really remember what I'm going to be saying half the time. So yeah, that was one interesting thing. And then we get into the interesting stuff, the real interesting stuff. And that's kind of how I got into the Diablo 2 underground sort of thing. So I'm not sure exactly how I found this stuff, but people had released some sort of program that kind of ran as a packet capture that ran, you ran it as an application while you were in the game. And I think the way that the BattleNet servers were working is when you were physically close to another player in the game, the network packets that would be sent and received from your client would also have information about that player as well. So there was some sort of program that you could run that would actually tell you what a nearby player had in like what all their items were. So I would kind of like freak people out, I would walk up to someone in the game and I'd be like, oh, that's a nice set of such and such boots and armor you have there, right? Because otherwise there'd be no way that you could actually identify the exact name of what someone else's character had on, just by looking at them, I don't think. So people would be like, wow, how on earth did you know that, right? And I'd be honest. I would say, oh yeah, there's this cool program that does this. You run it, and it tells you what everyone nearby has. And they were like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I'd be like, do you want a copy of it? And they'd be like, yes. So here's where me being a very bad person comes into play. What I did is I injected a Trojan into a copy of this program, and then I hosted the file myself and gave them that download link to obtain it. So oh, this is so terrible. I can't remember exactly what I used. It might have been the Sub 7 Trojan, or something like that. And here's kind of like what I intended to do with that. I would Trojan these people's computers, and I think what I had it set to do was run a keylogger. And what I wanted to do is get their BattleNet account. So I would have this keylogger installed on their computer, and I can't remember exactly how the information would then get back to me. Maybe it was like live. I think maybe I had to like connect to their IP address or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it worked. But basically, I would use the keylogger on their system, and I would basically go through and look for their BattleNet login and password. And I would then log into their account, and someone's reviving these guys. Where are we? First of all, so yeah, my goal was to go into their BattleNet accounts and steal items because they were in the same, realm. Because if you made a character on one realm, you couldn't use it on another realm. So obviously, if I'm on US West realm and I get a BattleNet account for someone else on US West, then I could like get the character's items and stuff. So yeah, what I did is I basically would try to find accounts that had items that were better than mine, so I could steal them. And this also becomes a bit complicated because you can't just like mail yourself items from one character to another. So what I think I had to do was obtain another computer that ran Diablo 2, and have them both running at the same time so I could log into the character on one computer, log into mine in the other, and then go into the same room and initiate a trade or something like that. I'm fairly certain that's what I was doing. This was like 25 years ago, so I can't remember the exact details. All I remember is that I was a huge asshole. So, yeah. And now, if you thought that was the worst thing, we're not even close yet. There's something that I did that was far more hilarious, in my opinion. Although I am a massive asshole. So yeah, that kind of, I think I got into a few computers with the Trojan method. And I don't think there was anything else that was, other than that, there was anything that was like, any other programs that were like, anything worth mentioning. I think as Blizzard goes and patches, Battle.net, because I mean, to log into Battle.net after they issue a patch, you have to download the patch, otherwise you can't play. So, you know, if they fix something like that, like an exploit, then you obviously have to download the latest patch before you can start playing again. So, eventually they fixed that sort of stuff. But, yeah, there was something else that I did that was, like, probably one of the most evil, ingenious things I've ever done. So, I needed another way to get into Battle.net accounts. And what I did is I invented my own exploit. The problem is, I couldn't. So I had to make one that seemed like it would work, but was actually completely fake. So one of the more tedious aspects of the game is, you know, having to level up, where you just have to sit here grinding away, killing all these enemies and stuff like that, right? It's super annoying. So what I did is I created a program that claimed to automatically level you up. There was, I called it the Diablo 2 experience hack. And what it would do is it would, you know, it would automatically just make your experience level go up. It was something that would be like, I can't remember the exact details of it. Like, I gave some sort of number, like, you know, if you run it overnight, it like simulates you playing the game or something. I think that's how I worded it. So, you know, you'd open the program, you'd enter your Battle.net account, and then you'd leave it running overnight. And I think I claimed like it would kind of like go in and like AI play your character. Something like that. I think that's what I claimed it would do. Oh my god. So I made like a website for it and everything, and then I also spread the word of mouth in the game, their players. But here's the thing. Obviously, there was no way to make a program that did that. So what I did is I made a Visual Basic application. It had a login and password field. It had, you know, some other fancy looking stuff around it. I don't remember the details exactly. And then what I did is when someone entered their login and password, the application would send that to some sort of open relay in New Zealand, which would then bounce it to my ICQ number through email, because this was, you know, 2001, so people still used ICQ. I think there was like, there was a way you could email an address, and that email would show up in your ICQ instant messengers. So my Visual Basic program would email the entered credentials using a random open relay that I found on the internet to ICQ and my inbox, basically. So here's where it gets even more diabolical. Some people would, in fact, put their actual account in there. And, you know, I'd log in, there'd be, you know, maybe nothing worthwhile, or they would have a character that was in a different realm from me, and then it would be pointless because I couldn't do anything with their items. But sometimes someone would enter a Battle.net account, which was a brand new account, because you could actually have multiple Battle.net accounts. You didn't have to have like only one account. So what someone else would do was they would create a empty account with a level 1 character on the same realm that I played on, and then they would put that into the application. So I would get an ICQ message. It said, here's the login and password. I'd log into it, and I would see there'd be like a level 1 barbarian or something, right? So here's where I'm far too clever for my own good. I would be, you know, this would be like the middle of the night usually for me when I'd be doing this. I would log in to that account and I would start playing their character for, you know, maybe like half an hour to an hour. So then the next morning, when whoever ran my program went to log into that account, they would see their character leveled up overnight. It would be from level 1 up to maybe level 3 or 4. And they'd be like, oh my god, this program works. So they'd be convinced that it was a real program and not a scam. So they would enter the real credentials for their Battle.net account, where all of their main characters are. And that would bounce off of the email server in New Zealand and hit my ICQ, and I would log in. I would see, like, you know, very high level characters, and then I would loot them. Yep. I would take all the items that I wanted and the gold. So, yes. So, like, I'm not joking when I said I'm, like, when it came to Diablo 2, like, I was a huge asshole. So, yeah, that's basically what I was doing. And I can't remember exactly when I stopped playing the game. Because I was playing the game probably for a while. I was also big into Half-Life Counter-Strike. I really liked that game, and I remember playing that game on that computer that I was using for Diablo 2. So, yeah, at some point I kind of got bored of Diablo 2, probably. But yeah, like, I actually had... I think at one point someone had entered credentials for an account that was in hardcore mode, and I can't remember what level the character was, but I figured, you know what, I could probably throw this account on eBay and make like 10 or 20 bucks. And I did. I sold the account. And then the person left me bad feedback on my account because whoever owned the account that I had stolen kept messaging their character until one day it came back online because it was someone I sold it to. And they probably told them, hey, you know, you bought a stolen account. So they left me bad feedback on eBay. You know, I'm not kidding. I'm an asshole. Pretty big asshole. Maybe not so much anymore, but when I was in my teens and my 20s, yeah, I think I was a giant asshole. Likely. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the story of Diablo 2 for me. I mean, I still like the game, and, you know, I'll play it from time to time in the single-player mode on this laptop. But one of the things that ended up happening is my love for this game led me to get into World of Warcraft, which was an even larger waste of time. Like, I didn't really get too hardcore into that game. Some of my friends did, but like I ended up playing for probably like a couple years. Like I bought the game right at launch. I think it was 2004 is when World of Warcraft was released. So I remember being in the game on day one and being in a guild with a bunch of my friends. So yeah, we had started up playing that way. They were kind of more into it on a serious level. I think my computer hardware at the time was, you know, it ran it okay, but you know, it wasn't the greatest gaming hardware out there. So but yeah, eventually I kind of stopped caring about World of Warcraft, and then I got back into it a few years after that, because I went to a job where some of my coworkers there played it. So I got into their guild that they were all part of, and played there with them for a little while, maybe like a year or two. I don't remember, because that was also more than 10 years ago. So, but by that time, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 expansions out. Don't remember the exact ones. I think Wrath of the Lich King was one of them. I remember having that one. And I think there may have been one before that that I had, but I don't remember. So, yeah, I played a bit of World of Warcraft. And of course, that game you have to pay, like you have to buy subscription. So every month or every 3 months, you had to like go and buy like a card or something, or put on a credit card. So eventually it was like, you know, I'm broke, can't afford to be paying for video games, you know. So I haven't played that since, and I don't think I'd want to get back into it anyway. I have far too many other things to be doing with my time. Even Diablo 2, right? Like, this is the first time I think I've been in this game in over a year. But yeah, save and exit game. Okay. Usually, I think, I don't know if, let's see, if we go back into the game, I wonder where it's going to put. Okay, we're back in the main city here. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I like this sort of game, and it led to me being into World of Warcraft, which, I mean, I also did like, but Diablo 2 is one of those games where, because of my history with the game, I would say it is one of the more interesting stories of my youth and video games in general. So, yeah, I think that probably covers most of it. I kind of wanted to make this video while I still remembered some of these details about my history with Diablo 2, and I think that was pretty much it. Yeah. So yeah, as I stated, I was an asshole. Yep. Not gonna lie, not gonna sugarcoat it. That's pretty much what it was like. But yeah, it's a still a fun game. I'm not gonna bother looking at the modern remake of it or whatever that EA has out. That doesn't really interest me at all. I'm only interested in the like the vintage aspect of the original game. So at some point, if I get a computer that has a fast enough processor with a Voodoo card, I might try the Glide version of it. The only computer I have that has a Voodoo card is a Pentium 233, and I think that might be a little bit too slow to run the game. Although with the 3DFX card in it, it might be usable. I'm not entirely sure. But it would be interesting to see the difference, because I do recall the Glide version, the graphics looked much nicer, obviously. So yeah, I would be interested in trying that out with my own hardware here at some point. I think that's probably going to wrap this video up. It's basically just been me ranting, and I didn't really want to do a whole lot of playing on the game because it would just be an hours and hours and hours long video, and I don't really have any interest in doing that. So yeah, if you want to get into Diablo 2, it's still fairly easy to do. Obviously, these old versions won't ever work on Battle.net. And if you want to get like the modern remake or whatever that is capable of Battle.net, you have to pay for it because you have to have like the unique CD key and all that stuff. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this video. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.